We had had enough of running low on battery power every time we left the dock.
It's a constant battle to keep these batteries charged. We have only 200 amp hours of batteries.
So it was time we did something about it.
We are headed to Anacortes. We're going to have some solar panels put in and some new batteries.
This was our scheduled window to go get some help with the install from a lithium and solar expert. But would our installation be enough to actually let us do some real long-term cruising? We'd soon find out.
We're Ingrid and Jim. Join us as we explore the Pacific Northwest aboard our 37-foot sailboat, Indigo.
Report. So I've been working in here again, and basically I've been focusing all my effort in here. So the distribution and everything, so we've got our solar controller there, we've got our DC to DC, all that stuff's in, shore power's in, and yeah, the distribution is almost done there. A couple different things to do, but it's looking really good, and I'm really happy with how it's turning out. Started the solar install. The wires were too short, so I had to kind of stop, which is frustrating. Need more parts, but that's okay. They'll be in tomorrow. Cut the holes for all the wires for the solar panel, so that's like a kind of a big scary job. So definitely to make sure that was, the holes were in the right spot and everything. So yeah, I think by the end of the day tomorrow we'll be in really, really good shape. So you went from 2 AGM house batteries that were being charged via the starter battery. The alternator wasn't directly, so we moved all that around. And so now you have 3 100 amp hour Battleborn lithium batteries that the alternator plugs directly into, and you're just dumping charge into that. So it's a more efficient solution. You've got external regulation, you've got a new battery monitor, you've got DC to DC charging that automatically happens when the engine is running. You've got 360 watts of solar, and a new exhaust elbow. You're good. You're ready to cruise.
We're in Cap Santi, heading out to Friday Harbor, and it's raining. We're going to be testing out our batteries and solar today.
Not the best day.
I don't know if the panels will absorb anything today, but we'll see how it goes.
But as we left the dock, something was not quite right.
We're doing a boat speed of about 5.4 knots, and the engine sounds like we are running probably at about 2,400. Yet the tachometer says we're doing like 3,700. So not sure what's going on here. We're gonna get in touch with Mac and see if he has any ideas. We ended up getting 10 to 11 knots of wind. So we got the engine off, sails up, and now, you know how it is with 2 sailboats. Our buddy boat, Uluwatu, over there has their sails up as well, and it's a race.
They had a little bit of a lead on us, but we've come back. Now we're kind of losing our wind, but I think we're gonna cross the line. I don't know if I told them we were racing, but they should know.
Today's going to be our first real test of the solar and the battery. We're going to be on the hook overnight with Uluwatu, our buddy boat, and we have some sun today. So we'll be able to see what the solar is actually bringing into us and what our one day's or overnight's power usage is.
The hike to Turnpoint Lighthouse is about 3 miles, or 5 kilometers, round trip from Prevost Harbor. While the public dock is accessible to boats from the bay, the surrounding beach and land is all private. But there's plenty to see just from walking Lighthouse Road. Eagles, deer, and even yaks on a farm next to the road. sometimes orcas.
We found the lighthouse.
The historic lighthouse at Turnpoint was built in 1893 to serve as a navigational aid for ships traveling through Harrow Strait between the U.S. and Canada. Full-time lighthouse keepers and Coast Guard personnel lived and worked here for 81 years until the signal was automated in 1974. Using LED technology, the lighthouse is still in operation today.
First 24 hours on the hook actually turned out pretty good for the solar and the battery, but it's just a one-day test. After we head up to the islands and we do the 3-day test, then we'll really know how things are going to go.
We are sailing to Roach. And the wind's dying.
Uh-oh. What's it at now?
9.6.
Okay.
So this morning we're plugged into shore power here at Roach Harbor, and our AC power started flickering. It looks like we have a problem with our shore power cord, and it's kind of fried.
That does not look good.
We're just going to have to keep charging our battery off of the solar, but we still need to replace this cord. Ironic that we are having power problems still, even though we just got the solar put on.
And as Chris and Adelle head back to Canada, we're on to the next test of Indigo's upgrade.
There it is. Mesa Island. It's our destination. We were going to go over here to Prevost, but with the winds coming up and the angle they'll be hitting the island, Mesa is a little bit better protected, so we're going to head over there.
A strong weather system was forecast to hit the San Juans for the next couple days, and northwest-facing Rolfe Cove appeared to have the best harbor in which to hide out in these little islands.
We made it! Mesa Island. In the summer, this place is packed. You likely won't get a spot. There's only the dock and one mooring ball, so maybe 4 boats can raft up on the dock.
About 10 feet is the depth right here, which is good for us. We do have a minus 0.2 tide coming up in a couple days, but I think we're going to be just fine here.
We have the whole island to ourselves. This is kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Somebody lost their knee. Okay, right here.
We've been wondering how to pronounce the name of this little island. Who better to ask than the visiting park ranger?
Actually, on the old charts, it was named by the Eliza expedition, so they named all these islands. And then they named this one, it was actually Isle de Mata. And Mata, which it's Mata means brush in Spanish.
Okay.
And then I don't know how it got the I in there. So if it was Spanish, technically it should be Matia because it's just like Maria, but the locals say Mesa.
So we hunkered down on Mesa to wait out the incoming front.
Storm hit last night at about 4 o'clock. Started pouring down rain. And about an hour later, we started getting the swell.
It feels like we're on anchor or possibly a mooring ball in the middle of some swell, but we're actually tied up to a dock and rocking and rolling quite a bit.
Seems as though even though we're protected from the 20 knots of wind, the swell is creeping in through the little side channel to this cove. This morning we took a little hike as the rain let up, and we just went to the windward side of the island.
So the wind out there is significant, gusting to 20, 25, maybe even 30. So instead of being out there, we're actually at the beach, exploring all the beaches on the island, which is one of my favorite things to do. So not a bad day at all.
It's an orca.
Look what I found, beach glass.
So we did it, a full 72 hours without the engine on here at Matia, Mesa, whatever it is. And we used power as we normally would. We didn't really try to conserve. We were able to run the refrigerator, Starlink, the TV, recharge all our other batteries, including the dinghy battery. And we ended up with 17.5% on our battery. So I guess that proves we can do it for 3 days off-grid, no motor, just solar, and we're off.
So before we had the battery upgrade, we were always worried about how much power we were consuming. The primary focus for me is having an operating refrigerator. So one of the exciting things about the upgrade is we not only have a working refrigerator, but we have a freezer.
And as we pulled into dock at San Juan Island, Mac was kind enough to meet up with a couple needed parts.
All we're doing is we got a new alternator, and the alternator is putting out a different signal to the tach than what it was before. So the tach doesn't match up with the engine RPMs. So this little box goes in between the new regulator and alternator and goes to the tachometer. And there's a little adjustment on here.
To match up the RPMs on the tachometer to what the actual engine is doing.
Yep, exactly.
And I could fix the shore power cord and inlet.
Wow, really fried.
And now we were ready to finally do some real long-term cruising throughout the Pacific Northwest and Canada.
To catch all of our adventures, click to subscribe and follow us on Instagram at SailingSV Indigo.